I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Wednesday, March 26, 2025. Welcome back to the program, folks. Chris live in Central Pennsylvania. Wednesdays, we start the news a little bit early because we have Wednesdays with the Colonel with Ronaldo at 7 p.m. South Africa time, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Welcome back. Hope you're all well. Good to see you once again. Lots to talk about, as usual, on the program today. If you missed it, the Conscious Clerical Ernst van Sale from AfriForum was on the program earlier. We discussed his recent documentary about was Donald Trump right? He was right. Trump was right. So many ways. But I've got a fascinating leftist op-ed I'm going to talk about here from the Times Live today from Barney, once again spewing all kinds of nonsense. It's just astounding the cognitive dissonance of people who are just simply so dishonest about things. Welcome to the chat, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button while you're here. I do appreciate your presence, and hopefully you find the conversation useful and informative. Annalie Glissen, welcome to you as a team member. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining. I think you joined during the last stream, but it showed up again this time. Check out my tulips, folks. Looking they're lovely, aren't they? 4 of them. Looking beautiful. Getting ready to open up there. That's after we had the purple ones up there previously. So love me some tulips. Good stuff. Anyway, welcome back. Lots to talk about. After this program, you'll be redirected automatically to the Ronaldo program if you'd like to join us over there for a conversation. I suspect we'll be talking about Nota Beloy, among other things in South Africa. Also, the foolhardy actions of Fikile Mabalula, whom we're also going to talk about in this broadcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I was on Newspod last night, or this morning, earlier today, I should say, and also I'll be appearing on Newsroom Africa soon, so I'm not sure when that'll be, probably tomorrow, I'm not sure, but you can check that out if you'd like. Welcome to all of you, and let's get to it from folks around the world. Okay, here is the news. First off, the MK Party and EFF are jockeying to join the government of national unity. Wow. Don't think that's going to happen, but they have high hopes. Remove the Democratic Alliance from the GNU and we'll talk, EFF tells the ANC in budget talks. ANC Chief Whip Mdubisini Ntuli says the party's delegation met with EFF and MK on Wednesday, while a meeting with Action SA took place on Friday. The EFF has put its cards on the table, calling for the ANC to remove the Democratic Alliance as a partner in the GNU as a condition for its vote in support of the budget. Or the ANC said it'd be looking at a different path as lobbying for Action SA to be included in the GNU continues. The ANC met with the EFF, Action SA, and MK Party this week in hopes of wooing them into voting for the budget, which includes controversial 0.5% VAT increase. Parliament has less than 2 weeks to approve the VAT before its implementation on May 1st. Now, isn't that a silly comment? Parliament has less than 2 weeks to approve it before its implementation. According to legal scholars, the VAT increase is cooked in. It doesn't matter what Parliament does. The only thing Parliament can do is get rid of it. So it seems weird that this is even talked about here. The ANC is said to have paused the negotiations with the Democratic Alliance, opting to engage with other parties before meeting with John Steenhuisen from the DA. Well, it's not looking good there for the GNU in South Africa. Not looking good. Cyril Ramaphosa has called for self-reliance in the wake of U.S. HIV/AIDS funding cuts. Isn't this comical? Cyril, where was this self-reliance 22 years ago? Why did you have to milk me out of $8.1 billion of debt, gifts to South Africa, burdening my grandchildren, paying back debts for your HIV crisis? How about your self-reliance 22 years ago, or 17 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, instead of suckling off of our teats? In a bold response to recent cuts to HIV funding announced by President Trump, South African President Ramaphosa has heralded the situation as a crucial moment for the country to strengthen its commitment to self-reliance. I'm sorry, buddy. You've got no credibility. Next. On that topic, Cyril Ramaphosa says there's no need to consult the government and national unity partners on Ibrahim Rasool's replacement. Really? Aren't you the genius that chose Ibrahim Rasool in the first place? I think that maybe some advice and counsel is something that Cyril Ramaphosa could desperately use because he clearly has poor judgment or he intentionally sought to provoke the United States. You decide, folks. You decide. It seems pretty clear to me that that's what's going on. Well, Ibrahim Rasool is collateral damage. This is a comical op-ed by Barney, the leftist himself. Judging by Ramaphosa's response, we're either naive or totally unprepared for this almighty brawl. It may be a bit dicey, but let me go out on a limb and put in good word for unfortunate Ibrahim Rasool, who was settling in nicely for a second ambassadorial stint in Washington, only to be sent packing. Only to be sent packing. With a flea in his ear by the screwballs who've taken over the Yankee asylum. I'm sorry. Were you intentionally being disrespectful and rude to the United States there, buddy? Barney, the screwballs running the Yankee asylum? You talk about the racists running the South African asylum. Let's talk about that. Publicly berated and run out of town within days, the diplomatic equivalent of a lynching. He has found no sympathy at home. Typical of South Africans, we simply piled on. There's nothing we like more than kicking a man when he's down. Really? Really? But the fact that Rasool was on a second tour of duty as ambassador, arguably the country's most prestigious posting, is an annoying reminder that the ANC sees the diplomatic service as yet another avenue to reward or dump its caters. Such appointments have absolutely nothing to do with advancing the country's interests. It's a shame that he has to be insulting and condescending and bigoted towards the United States, Barney. First off, Rasool wasn't run out of town on his ear. He committed an own goal of epic proportions. Yankee asylum? Screwballs? Well, how about screwballs working at the Times? Wow. So this is what he actually has to say with a straight face. Nothing Rasool said warrants an expulsion. It's way over the top. Such crude and undiplomatic action doesn't speak well of the Americans, who wear their belief in freedom of speech on their sleeve. They could have called him in for a dressing down if they didn't like what he said. The fact that he was thrown out without even a kangaroo court shows that this moment was bound to come regardless. Donald Trump is set on making South Africa his whipping boy to put the upstarts in their place. Ordinarily, a country will respond to the expulsion of its envoy by retaliating in a similar vein. But South Africa is in no position to take on this Goliath. The only reasonable response, perhaps, is to lie low for the next 4 years and hope the dust will settle. Well, your actions and your big mouths, Barney, you're not going to be able to lie low. Once Gaza, once Ukraine are dealt with, South Africa will be dealt with by the Trump administration because of its constant attacks on America. Your bigotry and your racism directed against Americans is epic. Nothing he said warrants an expulsion. So you think it's appropriate for a diplomat who's supposed to build ties to a country to share their personal views by calling the leader of the country where they're a guest the leader of a global white supremacist movement? You think that's okay? Really? So if someone were appointed the ambassador to Pretoria and they said that the ANC is the leader of a global black supremacist movement hell-bent on murdering and oppressing whites, would that be appropriate, Barney? Would that be appropriate? Would that be okay? Or should that ambassador be expelled? No, that ambassador should be expelled for insulting the country he was a guest in. What kind of moron are you, Barney? Way over the top? No. It's the mildest of responses. In fact, the actions of Ibrahim Rasool reflect on South Africa. It would have been well within the prerogative under the Vienna Conventions for the United States to then sanction and send a demarche to the country of South Africa. They didn't do that. This whining, bullshit, crybaby, little whiny, bitch-ass attitude by these commentators in South Africa is pathetic. Ibrahim Rasool got the minimum punishment he should have gotten for his actions, which were beyond the pale. He's not a journalist. He's not a television commentator. He's not a private citizen. He is your diplomatic representative to Washington, D.C. He's supposed to represent the interest of all South Africans, not the elite racist caters who are running the country. They could have called him for dressing down. What is the point of calling him for dressing down? He didn't say something impolite. He didn't say, well, the United States should stop harassing South Africa. That would have been impolite. You call him in and say, listen, we're not harassing your country. Stop publicly stating this, or there'll be consequences. No, he said Donald Trump is the leader of a global white supremacist movement and that Americans are racist. Screw Ibrahim Rasool. He's a fool to himself. The man is a fool to himself. Intentionally a fool to himself. Spewing racial hatred and bigotry of the highest order. What happened to him is the minimum. The minimum. Ah, look, Barney, we know you're a leftist, and I love how on the Sunday Times they say you're a respected political commentator. You don't deserve respect for this nonsense. You're not even remotely objective. Look, I never had anything against Ibrahim Rasool. He's an idiot, but I never had anything against him. People are welcome to be idiots. But this guy, what he did was beyond the pale, and you know it's beyond the pale, and you just try to pretend it's okay. Wow. Stupid comments. Stupid people say stupid things. Well, moving right along, here's an op-ed piece. Well, it's actually listed as news, but it's more analysis than news in Al Jazeera about Juju and his singing of Kill the Boer. Interesting story here by Nick Dahl, who comes from Cape Town. It's not quite an apologist piece for singing murder white South Africans, but it's not far off. What's the song all about? An isiXhosa struggle song, yes. The title, yes. Goes on explaining this to the world that don't know what Boers and Afrikaners are. Yeah, who is Juju? Talks about who Juju is. Is the song really call for white genocide? Now, this is what's comical, okay? So he actually puts this sentence. That's why I'm covering the story in Al Jazeera. Nick Dahl actually says, Malema has repeatedly stated, both in court and in interviews, that we are not calling for the slaughter of white people. If that was where the sentence ended, then Nick Dahl would be correct in saying the facts bear this out. There's never been anything close to an attempted genocide of white South Africans. But the rest of the sentence bears merit. Malema has repeatedly stated, both in court and in interviews, that we are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least not for now. And then he has the audacity to completely ignore the fact that Julius Malema just basically implied a threat that we will call for the slaughter of white people in the future. That's what basically said. Why would you add the clause, at least for now? Wow. I mean, this is serious a lack in judgment on Nick Dahl's part there to come with this nonsense about a white genocide. The genocide is being talked about by you, Nick Dahl, being talked about by Al Jazeera, being talked about by Julius Malema, not being talked about by reputable people who are conservatives. My goodness. Wow. And you complete pass on the guy saying, at least for now. How is it that leftist liberals completely missed that part intentionally? Do they think people are stupid? At least for now. What is that? It begs the question. Shame on you, Nick Dahl. It's a good news article until you get to that part. Then it just becomes nonsense. Well, there is some blowback coming from black South Africans about Juju. Professor Lesibi Tefo urges Malema to reconsider singing that idiotic song. Look at this idiot. He looks the complete. If there were ever an image if you were to go to a dictionary and look up the word Mampara and you're looking for an image associated with it, that's the image right there. That is the image. There's a Mampara right there. Perfect description. Political analyst Professor Leshibo Tefo has criticized EFF leader Malema for perpetrating the anti-apartheid chant "Kill the Boer." Wow, look at that. Speaking to Newsroom Africa regarding the controversial song and chants, Tefo said, for the sake of nation building, reconciliation, and social cohesion, Malema should avoid the Kill the Boer song. I think as a leader, he should be sensitive and responsive to the call on the ground. We want to co-fashion a society where black and white people can live together. But the thing is that Malema doesn't want to live with white people. Well, maybe he does. He loves the trappings of white society. But as far as his political power base, for show, for his acting chops, he doesn't want to live with white people. I really don't think the guy's actually a racist, to be honest. I think he's just an opportunist and a shameful fool. But that's the whole other story. He said the argument for nostalgic attachment song does not hold water, as majority of people singing this song are born after apartheid. Yep. Incidentally, I lived and experienced apartheid. It is those that heard, read, and got it mediated to them that tend to want to give us lectures. We are not the first ones to be colonized under the sun, but many nations have moved on, even the so-called Asian tigers. Boom! Shakalaka. Well said, Professor. Can we not be beholden to the past? Be mindful of it, but look at where we are. People want bread, pop, and flies, safety and security, jobs, anything that's inimical to these. I'm sure people will say you cannot be our leader, one way or another. Well said. Well said. Well said. And, of course, open mouth, insert foot. Fikile Mabalula is at it again, folks. Rubbishing and attacking America. The ANC just can't help itself. And what has Trump done? No action. No action from Trump. No AGOA suspension, even though South Africa is illegally a member of AGOA now, violating the public law in the United States. No sanctions, no tariffs, no travel restrictions, nothing being done to South Africa. And every day, some asswipe African National Congress politician opens their big cake hole and spews racial hatred and disgusting, vile, putrid comments about America. And the latest is, once again, Fikile Mabalula. Mabalula accused U.S. of hypocrisy, fascist characteristics, and calls for global equality. Well, idiots like you don't deserve equality because you are substandard and incompetent. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mabalula has accused the U.S. of displaying fascist characteristics and reinforcing outdated racist ideologies. What are the racist ideologies you speak of here, Fikile? We have 0 laws in America based on race. We used to have affirmative action, which was racist. That's out the window. We have 0 laws based on racial preferences here. You have 140 plus. Who's the racist here? Who has the racist ideology? Mabalula was speaking at the Democratic Nursing Organization of South Africa's Congress that is currently underway in Boksburg, where it accused the US of being hypocrites in its use of veto powers in the UN Security Council. What does the UN Security Council have to do with what's going on in South Africa? Please tell me about that. He said the powers are used to block any attempt to hold Israel accountable for its violation of international law. Israel has not violated international law. That's Fikile Mabalula's fully uninformed, bigoted opinion. What international law has Israel violated? None. Right of self-defense is in the United Nations Charter. Fact. Meanwhile, Ramaphosa urged ANC members to exercise restraint while his party secretary general runs out with his mouth with the sewage flowing out of it. The geopolitical landscape is experiencing tectonic shifts, and the rise of alt-right governments with fascist characteristics hell-bent on asserting the racist tendencies of yesteryear. This endless revision to racism that doesn't exist. These pathetic losers are so obsessed with racism, the word means nothing. It means nothing. When someone who advocates for equal treatment of everybody is called a racist, then you know the word means nothing. Stupid people. Here's your sign. These developments are fueled by a new wave of disinformation that has replaced diplomacy and intelligence, underpinned by greed. There is no coming back for this moron. This guy's an idiot of the highest order. He's simply a propagandist who lies about everything he says. Not one thing he says is true. People worry about Malema. Malema has no impact. He has no power. This fool has power inside the ANC. Wow. And yet everyone else around us in the world must be held accountable. If you look at Russia and Ukraine, what happened to President Putin? He was declared persona non grata. He's facing charges with regard to what are called human rights violations, but others are exonerated from that. This is hypocrisy we're talking about. What hypocrisy, moron? The United States has not declared Putin persona non grata, you freaking moron. The International Criminal Court, of which South Africa is a member, you declared him persona non grata, not the United States. You see the intellectual dishonesty of Fikile Mabalula, probably because he's not intellectual. He is claiming that America is a hypocrite because Putin has been declared persona non grata because there are criminal charges against him. We have no criminal charge against Putin. None whatsoever. Are you paying attention? The media always claim that Trump is friends with Putin, which is a lie too. What an idiot of the highest order. There must be a special club for idiots, and we'll put him as president of the club. Unbelievable. Wow. The International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction over Vladimir Putin. But Fikile's not bright enough to know that. He's not exactly an intellectual. We are advocating for a rules-based system where all of us are equal. You are in a rules-based system, dingbat doorknob, Fikile Mabalula. You willingly signed up to the International Criminal Court, and you're a member of it. But when it doesn't suit your needs, you call it racist. When it suits your needs, you whine about a rules-based order. You're just a fool. You're just a mampara, buddy. You're just a mampara. We unequivocally pledge our solidarity with the people of Palestine and took the unprecedented step to haul the Israeli apartheid regime before the International Court of Justice to be held accountable for its actions in Gaza. Well, first off, there's no apartheid in Israel. All citizens of Israel can participate in society fully. They can own property. They serve in the military. They serve in the police. They serve as justices. They are members of the Knesset. That's a lie. That's a lie. And the constant slander put on Israel by fools, the mamparas like this, don't help the situation. You want to tell the truth? You have an issue with Israel responding to the terror attack and going into Gaza? That's a legitimate point. But this nonsense of playing the term apartheid and using the lowercase adjective when it's actually a proper noun shows you what a fool and dishonest person you are. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you're welcome to your solidarity with the people of Gaza. That's your prerogative. And the unprecedented step of hauling Israel to the International Court of Justice, that's a lie too. That's a complete lie. It's not unprecedented. Where were you, brave ANC warriors, when the Gambia, a tiny little Gambia, did the unique novel approach of charging another state with genocide over something that didn't even affect them. The Rohingya in Myanmar in 2018. Where was the ANC? You can't say it was, you can't say. All right, I'm going to pause my news because we have a troll. Some clown is saying, you know better than your audience that Trump's MAGA project is going to terminate GOA probably before it expires September. People the RCP is suspended indefinitely expect zero. All right, I won't delete you for that comment, but I will address it since you're looking for attention. Number one, my audience is diverse and is comprised of people around the world who are black, white, brown, Asian, so you know what you're talking about. Trump's MAGA project, there's no such thing as a MAGA project. Where are you, what part of your asshole you're digging this out of? MAGA project is going to terminate AGOA before it expires. Well, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. AGOA is a matter of public law. Trump cannot suspend the law. He can suspend miscreants who violate public law, like South Africa. They can be removed from it and should be removed from it. They're illegally participating in it. I don't want to see them removed from it, but they're the ones who broke the law, not me. So they should be removed. The U.S. refugee program is suspended definitely. You're wrong. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're taking partial information and just spewing your fake views. The U.S. refugee assistance program has been suspended for 90 days. 90 days. The executive order was clear on January 20th, and it doesn't apply to the executive order that was issued days later on the 7th of February. So take your opinions, which are uninformed, and take them elsewhere. If you want to contribute to the conversation, you can. There, are you happy? You got the attention you seek. Expect zero. Well, I expect zero from people coming here who are just trolls. All right? You want to contribute to the conversation? You're welcome to do it. Feel free. Otherwise, foot sec. Take it on the arches, piss off. All right, you got your attention, not the real Trumper. Well done. There you go. Now, my audience might be saying, why did you address that? Because those are lies. And this clown thinks I didn't see it by putting it in the chat. Yeah, stupid is as stupid does. That's the bottom line with that. That's the bottom line with that. So I see the trolls are just coming in force now. They're just sad. They're so pathetic. So predictable. So predictable. Anyway, what's new? What's new? All right, so there you go. Back to where I was at. Fikile Mabalula. Must have touched a nerve talking about Fikile Mabalula. Anyway, the guy just lies. Everything coming out of his mouth is a complete lie. Tony Leon is criticizing Ibrahim Rasool, says he would not take the U.S. ambassador job. We should use this crisis as an opportunity to look deeply into our agenda and ask whether we're advancing the interests of our country. I agree. In an interview with the NCA, Leon said he would not accept the job even if it was offered. This is hypothetical speculation. It's not something I've canvassed or something that was discussed with me beforehand. She just said the door was stopped by journalists. I'm happy people like Zillow say appropriate things in my case, but I'm not seeking a job. Well, I'm the one who suggested him. I'm the one that suggested him. From the outset, the moment Rasool was kicked to the curb. Johannesburg's Mayor Dada Marrero is denying that he pays influencers to promote his work. He's been accused of this for a long time. He dismissed claims suggesting the city paid influencers to promote and hype their work, specifically after officially opening a clinic in Soweto last week. There's never been instruction from me around the issue of influencers. As I make it clear, I've never made an instruction on the matter. Well, Dada Marrero, I'll tell you what, buddy. I will give you an interview on my program. Mayor Marrero of Joburg, feel free to come on my program. I'll reach out. In fact, I will reach out. Haven't done that for an ANC cater in ages, but you're welcome to my program, and you can tell people that that's nonsense. You don't pay, because I know I won't accept any money from you. So there you go. Besides, how would you pay me? A super chat? Yeah, I'm happy to talk to him. Well, folks, if you're a fan of Steve Hofmeyr, a bit of disappointment. His big concert icon in Cape Town has been canceled. DHL Greenpoint Stadium. Sick with disappointment. Steve Hofmeyr's Cape Town Stadium flop after only 8,000 tickets sold. Well, it's not a flop. 8,000 is a huge crowd, but the problem is that someone thought it was going to be bigger. Afrikaans singer Steve Hofmeyr vented his frustration on social media after postponing his Cape Town Icon concert. Only sold 8,000 tickets for the stadium event, and the capacity of the venue is 55,000. He told his fans he was thoroughly sick with disappointment. The concert was supposed to celebrate his 60th birthday, but he's already 60, so I guess this is kind of late. The event would have taken place on March 29th at the DHL Stadium with musical guests Juanita du Plessis, Caroline van Jaarsveld, Bobby van Jaarsveld, Nadine, Kurt Darren, Bulk van Blerk, and more. That would have been absolutely incredible. But only 8,000 tickets sold? What is going on with that? What is going on with that? So he took to social media to vent his frustration in a message written to his fans. He writes in Afrikaans that he had spoken to concert promoters the previous day about the event and tried everything to go forward with Cape Town Icon. But as with most concerts, he's at the mercy of promoters' cash book, and it doesn't work out, then there's little he can do about it. His biggest concern, of course, is if you bought a ticket or incurred other durable expenses like booking hotels or prepaying for things. We even arranged a holiday around Cape concert. Thank you for your patience. Thank you to the singers who understand. For us, 8,000 people would have been more than enough. He told fans that he'll relay more information once it's been updated. He shared an additional statement about the postponement. As cool concerts, we were convinced that we would have a good turnout at the stadium due to the absence of big Afrikaans shows in Cape Town. We simply cannot host the concert for a number of fans who purchased tickets in stadium format. We've already contacted all the role players and will relaunch the marketing campaign in the run-up to a new date. With Afrikaans' Groot and Kronen not being presented in Cape Town, this was the last attempt at a major Afrikaans concert in Cape Town. Hofmeyr said, so there you go. So Steve Hofmeyr's concert was canceled. Well, I'm glad I didn't buy a ticket to South Africa. I wanted to go to that concert. I'm so glad I didn't go to South Africa. If I had bought a ticket, I'd be screwed now. I wouldn't be able to go to the concert. Wow. Well, there's a petition circulating to deport Phil Craig, the leader of the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, who's been advocating for Cape Independence for a long time. Married to an Afrikaans woman and has kids born in South Africa. His children are South African. They want to get rid of him. Petition to deport him for attempting to divide South Africa gains traction. Cape Independence Advocacy Group leader Phil Craig, who's British, recently lambasted the South African government for not granting him citizenship. Craig has reportedly been in South Africa for over 20 years and is lobbying for the country to be partitioned in two parts. Cape Independence describes itself as a single-issue political pressure group promoting Cape Independence. We're committed to democratically, lawfully, and peacefully obtaining independence for the collective peoples of Western Cape. Yep. So someone wrote, as a proud black South African, I'm deeply disturbed by the actions of Phil Craig, a UK nationalist causing division in our country. His actions reminiscent of the apartheid era, threatening to tear apart the unity that we fought so desperate to establish. It's unacceptable that an outsider seeks to disrupt our peace and harmony. Well, quite frankly, I think it's a bit racist and shameful and bigoted to call him an outsider. The man is clearly South African in his outlook in his life and his commitment to South Africa. He's built a business and hired South Africans. He's poured money into South Africa. He's raised a family in South Africa, and he's an outsider? Wow, that's a very xenophobic approach. Anyway, the petition further accuses Craig of not understanding or respecting our country's diversity, undermining unity and its progress towards racial harmony. What are you talking about? The people undermining the racial harmony, the idiots accuse him of it. There's nothing racial in what Phil Craig has done. Yep. Anyway, that story is going nowhere. Oh, Michael Beaumont said something. Michael Beaumont from Action SA says, I think we need to review whether a person advocating for the cessation of a province and division of our country qualifies to be granted citizenship of our country. Well, I think, Michael Beaumont, you should be focused on the budget and not on Phil Craig. Cape Independence is going nowhere, so get a grip. Get a grip. Well, last night we saw that the United States has new ambassador designate, nominee, I should say, and that's Brent Bozell, the media personality who will be coming now to the fore. And he's been nominated to replace Brigitte as the ambassador to South Africa. And then the New York Times runs a headline saying he's right-wing. No, the Media Research Center's Brent Bozell's not right-wing. He's a conservative. To their credit, the Daily Maverick gets it correct. A conservative commentator. That's what he is, not right-wing. Whoops, what happened there? My tab crashed. Look at that. Wow. Oh, that was Michael Beaumont on the budget. Okay, not important. Turning our attention to neighboring Namibia, folks. They will require U.S. citizens to get a visa starting on April 1st. In a significant policy shift reflective of the evolving dynamics of international travel, the Namibian government has announced that as of April 1st, U.S. citizens and tourists from more than 30 other countries will be required to obtain a visa prior to entering the country. Well, screw you, Namibia. My tourist dollars will go to South Africa. So much for the Etosha Pan, so much for Swakopmund literates. You want me to pay a fee to enter your country? I'm not an economic migrant. I'm bringing you money. I'm not coming to take money from you. Bye-bye, Namibia. Zimbabwe police are on high alert ahead of a planned protest against the crocodile on Monday. Heavily armed police with water cannons are patrolling the streets of Harare ahead of a planned protest on the 31st because they want to crush it. This comes after war veteran and expelled ZANU-PF member Blessed Geza called for a protest against Mnangagwa demanding his resignation. I think they just want to intimidate people ahead of the protest next week. Of course that's what they want to do. And isn't it funny that the pressure against ZANU-PF doesn't come from the MBC or other segments of civil society, but from within ZANU-PF. The crocodile. Will the uprising succeed? Is it going to be an uprising? Well, it's just a protest. After going into hiding for about a month, Zimbabwe war veteran Blessed Geza resurfaced this week calling for unity during planned protest. In a video posted to social media, he announced he was not worried about the charges he's facing. He called on Mnangagwa to step down for failing to end a moribund economy and for promoting corruption or nepotism. Well, don't forget racism. Yep, so Zimbabwe, things are falling apart. Zimbabwe has replaced their Minister of Sport, Kirsty Coventry, who's now the head of the International Olympic Committee, and everybody's all excited about that except me because she's part and parcel of a corrupt, racist regime in Harare. Zimbabwe President Emerson Mnangagwa reassigned the head of the country's army, Anselm Nanyo Sanyamdewe, to be the sports minister. Well, congratulations, Anselmo. Not much of a post for a soldier, but hey, whatever. Lesotho says that the cuts to foreign aid are going to crush the country, and that's the obvious. Thank you, Captain Obvious. King Letse III says Lesotho could lose 30 to 40,000 jobs if U.S. cancels the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. They're heavily reliant on foreign aid and exports, already been affected by cuts to healthcare funding. He plans to use the international attention from President Trump's remarks to promote Lesotho's stunning mountains and tourism during his trip to Europe. Well, good luck with that. You're going to replace all that money? It's heavily dependent on foreign aid for its $2 billion in GDP. If AGOA is terminated, it will have immediate impact on the economy and could mean the loss of 30 to 40,000 jobs. It's a worrying thing, but if it happens, we'll have to deal with it. Well, King, I would tell you that instead of going to Europe to promote tourism, you should go to Washington, D.C. and talk to legislators and encourage them to renew the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. That's what I recommend. Well, South Sudan's Vice President Riek Machar has accused Uganda of violating an arms embargo. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. South Sudan's first Vice President Riek Machar has accused Uganda of violating UN arms embargo by entering the country with armored car and Air Force units conducting airstrikes around the country. It's not the first time. Back in 2013, they also invaded the Ugandan People's Defense Force when I was at the airfield in Entebbe. We're flying and departing from there, going up to attack South Sudan. They were bombing forces in South Sudan. Yep, remember that very clearly. Kenya seeks a new International Monetary Fund loan, and since they are not pissing off the United States and the World Bank and the IMF, they might just get it, unlike South Africa. Kenya's applied for a new lending program from the IMF that will factor in unused money from the program which both sides walked away from last week. The decision to stop the review was down to time limitations and denied reports that Kenya had fallen out with the IMF over the government's failure to meet some targets in the program. So that looks like it's moving forward. Congratulations to Kenya. Istanbul is torn apart over Erdogan's arrest of his political opponent, the mayor of the city. Al Jazeera speaks to people on both sides of the anger at Ekrem İmamoğlu's arrest in Turkey. Look at that crowd. The scent of tear gas lingered over the Sakarya Square in Istanbul as thousands gathered a week in a protest against the arrest of the city's mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu. outside the municipal headquarters. The popular politician whom Turkey's main opposition party has chosen as candidate in the next presidential election was arrested on March 19th. Since then, protests have erupted daily, with demonstrators now calling for government's resignation. And I would echo that. Erdogan is a dictator for life and should leave office forthwith. He has been a disaster for Turkey, sending the country backwards by decades. Whew. Greenlanders are up in arms over the U.S. Well, piss on you, Greenland. You know, 57,000 podunk citizens. Go for independence and stand on your own. Greenland says coming visit is an act of aggression as Trump doubles down on pressuring self-governing Danish territory. An act of aggression. We are not for sale. Oh, but you are. Wholly dependent on handouts from Denmark. You can't stand on your own. Well, U.S. has now shifted the focus of a visit by the second lady, Usha Vance, because they're whining that it's highly aggressive. He wants Greenland. Well, you can keep Greenland, but you better damn well protect the Arctic sea lanes. Otherwise, we'll do it. Simple as that. The Atlantic, this is a real controversy in the U.S. now. Members of the cabinet and senior military people were exchanging chat in Signal rather than sitting on a secure line and having a voice or video call. Done these things many times. You have classified lines, you do it. A VTC, a video teleconference. Why weren't they doing a video teleconference? Why were they on a Signal app? Look, I don't think there's much to this scandal, but I'm saying that the OPSEC of these people is very suspect. How in the world did a reporter find his way into this conversation? Especially an anti-American, hateful shrew of a reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg. The Atlantic publishes Yemen attack plans shared by Trump aides on Signal. Details released by media outlet include the times of U.S. airstrikes and types of aircraft being used by the Houthis. The Atlantic has published what it said were attack plans. Well, they're not attack plans, but certainly details that never should have been shared. The release came today after the administration sought to downplay the significance of the text. The most important of the newly published messages appear to have been sent on March 15th by an account seeming to belong to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. They include the times of strikes and the types of aircraft being used, as well as early reports about how effective the attacks were. So in a group chat, Hegseth account posted 12:15 Eastern Time, F-18's launch, first strike package. 13:45 trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch MQ-9s. Those are drones. More F-18s launch, second strike package. Strike drones on target. This is. We're currently clean on OPSEC. Really? You're not clean on OPSEC. You're sharing this in a Signal group. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if that's genuine or if it's just made up by the journalist, but I suspect it is genuine, and it should never have been shared in a text message. That is not a classified outlet, and somebody's head needs to roll over this. It's not a scandal. I mean, Susan Rice, and in her inept diaper-wearing president, left classified documents all over the damn place. She's also famously the moron back in the 1990s who said, in the midterms, if we call Rwanda genocide, what'll happen in the midterms? She was more concerned about the Democrats retaining the House of Representatives than she was about the 850,000 people butchered to death with pungas in Rwanda. She's a vile, repulsive human being, so her opinion doesn't matter. But she was on television last night. This is the greatest national security scandal in history. No, moron. No, it's not. It's not. Not even remotely. All these trusted insiders at the FBI like Hansen and at CIA and in the Navy, all these, Johnny Walker, all these clowns are the biggest risk in national security. Anyway, it's a blunder of epic proportions, and someone should be sacked for it. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be shocked to see if Pete Hegseth finds his head on the chopping block, but I'm not predicting that. Signal chat blunder shows pitfalls of Trump's ad hoc approach to foreign policy, according to the increasingly antagonistic and no longer reliable Wall Street Journal, which is rapidly becoming a leftist mouthpiece. Administration struggled to translate Trump's promise of quick results and early wins. That's a lie. Trump has got all kinds of early wins. What planet is this idiot living on? Alexander Ward. Text by President Trump's advisors about whether to attack Houthi militants underscore the ad hoc nature of the administration's national security deliberations, a mode that has sometimes left allies bewildered and his own aides at odds. Other presidents relied on the State Department, Pentagon, and National Security Council to develop and filter options for an orderly manner. The Trump team, that's a lie. That's a lie. Relied on the State Department and Pentagon? Which administrations? George Bush, perhaps, but not Barack Obama, not Joe Biden. Neither one of them relied on the State Department, Pentagon, or National Security Council to do their bidding. They just did what they wanted. Wow. Anyway, stupid people do stupid things. And the United States Embassy's put a warning out that you should not submit fake documents. Now, this is an interesting post that occurs on March 25th. And submitting fraudulent documents in support of U.S. visa application is a serious violation that can result in visa ineligibility. The U.S. Department of State maintains stringent screening and security measures to protect the integrity of the U.S. visa system and ensure national security. Now, this was on the U.S. Embassy site in South Africa, not the Department of State website. So I will tell you, they're sending you a message. And this is also related to the visa. And this is my analysis. I don't have factual information, but this is my analysis because I know this process. This is related to the refugee resettlement program. If you submit fraudulent information in an effort to seek refugee status, you will be denied entry to the United States. I have said over and over again, do not lie. Do not lie, either by making a false statement or by an act of omission. An act of omission is a lie. Do not lie to investigators. We are very clever and we are very smart and we know what we're doing and we will find out that you lied. Some people might slip through, but you will be caught eventually. And when you're caught, you will be deported and sent back to the place that your life was in peril with no house, no bank accounts, no wealth, no nothing. You'll be put on a plane and sent right back to where you came from. Or you'll be in prison on this end. So do not lie. Lying or providing fake documents can lead to permanent ban on travel to the United States. And if you got to the United States illegitimately by defrauding us, you will pay a penalty. Do not lie. Is that clear? Is that clear? And the fact that it appeared on the U.S. Embassy website for South Africa, not global websites, is not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. Now, this talks about visas. What we're talking about here, read through the lines, is the refugee resettlement program. That's the bottom line. Do not lie. I say this because my experience in Africa is that Africans lie all the time when it comes to documentation. Particularly West Africa, where people fake education documents. Oh, I'm a graduate of the Jehovah's Bible School. No such school exists. You're not coming. I don't know why people are impressed by fancy degrees and awards and things, but they are, and it happens. So do not lie, do not lie. Okay, folks, let me get to the super chats first. I'll deal with them now because there were a number of them while I was busy doing the news. All right, here we go. So, Annalie Hussein, we already did that. Thank you for your membership. The Gray Hour gave 70 Rand. Not sure you can get for 70 Rand US maybe a choppy or two. Okay, thank you for that. Every penny counts, brother. Thanks a lot. And that was your 5th super chat. Quids45 gave 70 Rand super sticker. Francois Dutot gave a 10 Rand 49. Thank you for that. That's your first super chat, Francois Dutoy. I said Dutot, I meant Dutoy. Erica Suthi's back. Thanks, Chris, for what you do and telling it like it is. You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for the 100 Rand. And that's your 3rd super chat. Apocalypse Ninja, welcome to the team. 35 Rand. You follow up. Truth will set you free in South Africa. It will get you fired and jailed and name shamed. Indeed, it will. My goodness. Michelle Swart, thank you for 14 Rand. Erica came back with another 199. Shout out to Bellatrix, my very vocal Oriental cat, please. Bellatrix! Bellatrix. Hello, Bellatrix. Yeah, kitty, kitty, kitty, kitty. He's been listening, meowing, and hooking opinions since you've been talking. He's sponsoring this chat for your next drink. Well, thank you for that, Bellatrix. And then James Art gave a 350 Rand super chat. Woohoo! Francois Dutoy wants more attention. Francois. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. Do you like my tulips, Francois? Aren't they lovely? Thank you for that super chat. Lynette DeVette. Colonel Chris, if you have valid 10-year visa, does it mean they already did checks on you? Yes, it does, Lynette. However, I will tell you that the U.S. Refugee Assistance Program makes the clear point that refugees who come to America are the most stringently vetted people who enter this country. So you will be checked on just the same, even if you have a visa. But if you already have a visa, it's probably going to weigh in your favor. If you have a 10-year entry visa to the U.S., and you've been here a few times and left, it shows that you're a genuine person, you've never committed crimes, it will work in your favor. All right? It will work in your favor. However, you'll still get a background check, absolutely, because we don't check the background people we grant those 10-year visas to nearly as stringently we do as the refugees who come here. All right, there you go. So does that answer your question? And that's your 20th super chat. Wow, I'm so glad I've gotten you as a supporter for the channel. Can I apply to FEMA as a tent builder? Sure. Tents aren't built, they're erected. You're welcome, Lynette. Thank you for your question. Your date is wrong on the title. Oh, thanks for that. Appreciate that. That's because I reset the title, so I didn't catch it. I was rushing. 26 March. Thank you for that. Well, people still showed up, but thank you for that. It's now updated. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. All right. Okay. You mean my tulips, Chana? Those are your tulips? Okay. No, not all of us. I don't lie this morning. I even told you I was in the bath. Difficult. Whew. Okay. Awesome chat. Lovable says, Geo, I will not apply for seasonal work. Would you go over for work while your wife and kids are here? Lots of people do, Charles. They have very little option. They have to feed their family. I live in the 14th most murderous city in the world. I think that's a good starting point to get out of here. Yeah, Heinrich Havanga, I think you're probably right. Can eat burgers tonight. Wow, the tulips, they grew a lot. They did. Aren't they beautiful? And gifted membership. Lucky for some, paperwork of mine is washed away with the Mozambique cyclone, so I have myself. That is incorrect. Americana simply said that your email would be an expression of interest. Yeah, what did somebody say? I received the mail from Americanas. I think, in all honesty, the best instructions to follow would be from the U.S. Embassy itself. Well, the only instructions to follow, Greg Hogan, would be from the U.S. Embassy itself. Why would you follow instructions from anybody else? You can take information and use it as appropriate from the Americanas or from me, but the only instructions you should be taking if you want to apply to refugee is to follow what the American Embassy tells you. They determine. Bernice, Friday starting at 9. Some people start driving on the highway all the way to the embassy in Pretoria. Okay. All right. Super chats are giving me away. Now my wife knows I'm listening. Klaus, did you give a super chat? I didn't see one. I see Pennsylvania turned Democratic. What are you talking about, Francois Swart? What do you mean Pennsylvania turned Democratic? It's a purple state, not a red state. Can you bring your Uzi? Yeah, I don't know about that. Cannot be a white party. It will not be the majority vote. So what black party will create change in South Africa? Well, what white party is there? The Freedom Front Plus, I suppose you could say that's a white party just because the vast majority of people are white, but the DA is not a white party. It's only 1/3 white. I love how people call it a white party. You're combing all of it, combining, what's this? Oh, combing all of it with the same comb. Don't lie about your experience with crime or being a victim of crime. Exactly, Sasai. How far are you with those tents? I had a problem. The ground was a little hard last night, frozen. I couldn't drive the stakes in. Jacques Vince says, why would you need to lie about how dangerous South is for Afrikaners? Jacques, people lie all the time. They do. It's human nature to lie. And every human being has lied at one point or another, and people who deny that are just lying. People just lie. They just do. Either through an act of omission, which is a lie, or an act of commission by actively lying. People embellish. Okay, I'm a storyteller. When I tell stories, I embellish, but that's not lying. That's spicing up a story. But that sort of tendency of human beings carries over to factual information. When people want something badly, they will tend to lie. Not everybody, but enough people will do it. So I'm warning you: do not lie. Okay. And if people are offended because they think I'm calling them liars, I'm not calling you liars. I'm not calling anybody a liar, but I'm just giving you a heads up. Passport and hope it's going to be enough to prove my family in trouble. Charles, there's lots of ways you can prove your family in trouble. Leadership problem, we need to actually start thinking about this. Well, I agree. Lying is a sin. A lot of things are sins, Grumpy Gamer, but humans commit them. They're fallible people. You know, this is correct. These are baby steps leading to the opening of the program. Okay. Right time to buy. Okay. Get the population of registered voters who do not vote to it, but for one. What? It's a march to tell the world that we had enough of this. Are you talking about this weekend? Your ANC will be banned on travel to the U.S. as they lie on every matter. If anybody's going to the march, I will be covering it. So I'm covering it live. So if you want to call in, I'll set up a link, but you got to tell me ahead of time. I'm not just going to take anybody during the march because I don't know who they are. Could be some racist clown. Sir Raven, do you agree that no communists or Muslims should be allowed to hold any public office because they cannot swear allegiance to the U.S. Constitution? What are you talking about? What Muslim can't swear allegiance to the U.S. Constitution? Why can't they? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. If we do a background check it ourselves, can this assist the process? No, G-Man, it won't help at all. It won't help at all. It's not an objective, independent investigation. It's ridiculous to lie with this refugee program. Dang, just tell the truth. God will. Look, Gio, I'm not saying anybody has lied, but the embassy's being smart. They're warning you ahead of time, and I'm warning you ahead of time. Be honest, okay? Some instances, reality is stranger than fiction. Yeah, it is. What? Hendo got back from the doctor a few issues. What are you talking about, Hendo? What is going on in the chat all of a sudden? Can we perform our own background checks? I just answered that. What is going on? I mean, I just literally read it as it came across the screen and answered the question, and a minute later I get asked the same question. It's in the Quran. Well, I don't care what's in the Quran. All I know is that people raise their hand and they take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. If they're lying, then I don't know what to tell you. Islam is a faith. It's not a. Anyway, look, you're trying to get me on the spot here, and I don't know what to tell you. You know, you can form your own opinions on that. We have Muslim members of the Congress, so I don't know what to tell you about that. We have Muslims who serve in uniform in the army, so they seem to serve with distinction, and they seem to take an oath and support and defend the Constitution. I don't know what the issue is there. James Ark, did I get you 350 Rand? I think I did. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Steve says, I've been privileged to have worked and been around the world, and my team built the world's first underground gold plant in Greenland at Nalunk. Well, that's interesting. I'd love to go to Greenland, but I don't want to hear them whine about America. I'm sick of it. Low IQ says it's the principle. What's the principle? War plans. Oh, yeah. If that journalist had any integrity, would not have... Exactly. Okay, guys. So, as an independent journalist, I am often entrusted with information that's off the record. I've never revealed that information, and I never would, because it's detrimental to the process. It's not helpful. I would never reveal national security information. That guy's a scumbag piece of human feces. Why in the world would you reveal that information? Why in the world would you reveal that information? If anything, it should be sanitized and not, if you're going to relieve it. God, this tag is really driving me nuts. It should be sanitized, and you should put out there, if anything, put out there only the time's blocked out, the weapon system's blocked out, and just the text in between. But, I mean, why in the world would you rush that to publish that? That's treasonous. It's treason. It's not the press reporting on things. There is no compelling reason for the public to be aware of that. What the public should be aware of is that there is a OPSEC problem at the Department of Defense. They're being careless with their use of applications when they should be in classified connections like a VTC. So that's what they should know about. But this guy is just attention seeking. Yeah, I'm going to try to get Becky on my program. Kamalo and I are playing phone tag. I don't know if I'm ever going to get him on. He's busy. Too small to be fully independent for many more reasons. However, you don't steal assets, especially not from friends. Denmark is an ally. Huh? Is Denmark really an ally? Have you seen their behavior of late? They're not a very good ally. Not a very good ally. And they're neglecting Arctic sea lanes. Finally, they're going to spend $1 billion, but only after Trump pressured them. So it worked. Massive crowds don't intimidate. Do intimidate me, okay? Death Wish. Pale Dragon. Black Current, don't be scared. If they do anything to us, the world will react harshly. Where's Black Current at? So I missed a lot of this chat you guys had earlier when I was doing the news. We got to get through the news, folks. I don't see a lot of this stuff here. There's Black Current. Namibia's view is that they are just reciprocating what other countries done to them with regards to visa. Sure, Black Current, but we don't need Namibian tourists. So what we get mostly from Namibia are economic refugees, and we don't want them. So that's why we have a visa requirement. We send millions of dollars in Namibia, our tourists, and you want to hinder that? That's your prerogative. You're correct. It's their perspective. And if they want to put it up, they can. The UK has become unfriendly. I have to have an electronic authorization. It's not a visa. It's not a visa, but I still have to pay for it, and I have to have an advance before I can go to the UK. If I go to the UK now, I'll be deported because I have to have UK, the colonial power that founded this country, our closest ally historically, demands that we have electronic authorizations go there. And they're going to say, well, it's because you have the same thing in America. Well, okay, fine. But you don't want our dollars? You don't want our dollars. The gray hour. I think they're playing 5D chess with the journalists. I honestly believe they aren't that stupid. I don't know if they're playing 5D chess with that. I think it was stupid. I think that the inexperienced Pete Hegseth made a mistake, and he should have done that. Yeah, Black Current. No, Namibia thinks they're reciprocating. That's their prerogative. I'm just saying it's foolish. I mean, so what's the argument? Are Americans moving to Namibia and hiding there illegally? Is that, I mean, the purpose of visa is to vet a person to come to a country to say they're okay to come there. You do a criminal records check, and then you go, okay, they can come here. But why do you need to do that for Americans? Are they coming there murdering Namibians? Have they been raping Namibians? Have they been stealing from Namibians? Have they been staying beyond their visa time, or beyond their stay time illegally? We got an automatic visa at the airport for 90 days, which is what we give to much of the world. Not to Namibia, but much of the world. So now they want to impose a visa. You cut your nose off, spite your face, and see how much money you get from this. Stupid decision. Stupid decision. It's their prerogative. They can do what they want. But it's just a dumb decision. With all the things considered, a free democratic South Africa better than an apartheid South Africa. General question from a staff living in England. Ideology, I don't really know what you mean from that. It's not a free democratic South Africa. It's not a true democracy. It's not even a democracy of any sort. It's a pseudo-federal, pseudo-parliamentary, pseudo-democratic system in which people don't even vote for candidates. How can that be considered democracy when you vote for a party list? That's juvenile. Yes, they will get far fewer tourists now, Tom, because people aren't going to bother with it. Aren't going to bother with it. I mean, I have to shake my head at the stupidity of these countries that do these sorts of things. It's not very smart. Not very smart. Did I miss a couple chats here? No, I got them. Okay. What's your opinion of Palestinians saying they want Hamas gone? I don't believe them for a second. They voted Hamas in. So they brought this on themselves. R1, hey, whoever was talking about Islam, I believe it should not be tolerated in a Christian country, but most won't agree with me on this. Yeah, R1, I think most people won't agree with you on that. Sorry, Skuman, good evening. It sounds like you all think that we're going to lie. If this is a safe country, I would never think of... Okay, sorry, you're not listening to anything I'm saying, are you? Yeah, okay, fine. People want to hear what they want to hear. They want to hear what they want to hear. All right? I simply related to you my experience as an investigator that people lie all the time, mostly through acts of omission. And then when it's found out and they get found out, they have to answer for it. I don't think anyone's going to lie. I know people will lie. It's as simple as that. And sorry if you take offense to that. I'm sorry. I know what to tell you. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's just a reality. And I'm just warning you in advance to protect yourself. Did the same thing in Liberian, and they went and frickin' lied. We told them when they came in, do not submit fraudulent documentation. Do not tell us things that are untrue, because you will be investigated and we will discover it. And if you've misled or lied to us, you will be ineligible for the Armed Forces of Liberia. You do the same thing on a visa application, you're going to be screwed. So if people can take that whatever they want, that's not a threat, that's not a promise, that's not an attack. That's not a condemnation of South Africans. Americans lie on their visas too. I mean, if people grow up, relax. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Esme Latkin says, are you married? Don't lie. Well, I don't lie. I also don't tell you because it's none of your damn business. So my answer to that is I have 16 wives in 13 countries and 43 children spread across Africa. I'm single-handedly browning Africa. Why ask someone a personal question? I know you're being cheeky, Esme. You're being cheeky, that's why. I'm not picking on you. Tulsi was on the wrong side of the bench. What does that mean? I missed something there. Race, caste, or creed should not be what's looked at when appointing a person. Exactly. Exactly. Retha, hello to you. Self-proclaimed keeper word, but I find it hard to keep up with this chat. South Africa is a privately run enterprise under the guise of democracy. Franz Fourie, many people who are married don't wear rings, so not wearing a ring doesn't mean anything. Okay? Some people, especially people over the age of 40, don't fit in their clothes anymore. A lot of people don't wear their rings. Now, you see that obesity is not a problem for me. I'm still a rather thin fellow. Not thin, but normal weight. Anyway, so but not wearing a ring doesn't mean someone's married or not married. Take it for what you want. Okay? Okay. Thank you for everything you're doing on your channel, says Rulinda. You're welcome, Rulinda. It's my pleasure. Thank you for being a viewer and being a subscriber. All right. Ideology says, brilliant answer. My visa for England to my 5 business day was super expensive. Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. That's where they're going with this. They're charging money. So the UK, I now have to pay a fee. Yeah. Electronic authorization, whatever it's called, a fee. I didn't have to pay that before to go to the UK. So now they'll complain that they were paying one to the US. I was unaware that Brits had to pay that to come to the U.S. That was news to me. So I suppose turnabout's fair play. But what it's done is dissuade me from going to the U.K. as frequently as I used to. I mean, I'm not going to pay them to go there. It's ridiculous. I already pay their freaking 19% VAT when I buy stuff there. You never get the money back. The airport money stuff is crap. Marcel says, I actually enjoy liver. No, I don't. I don't. Sedgefield's in from the garden route. What's going on, man? It's not the country that is stupid. It's the people that rule the country. They are immature. So I'm going to lie because they learn well from their government. Sandhya Maharaj. I like that. Embassy must receive some visa applications where folks hand in fraudulent information. They would not put out such a message from nothing. Well, Ronell, that's a good analysis, and you may very well be correct, and I think you are correct. But I would say that if I were running the embassy, we would have put that message out because I look ahead and I anticipate. And maybe there's somebody there doing it. But you're spot on, Renell. They probably received something, and they checked on it, found out it was bogus. So let me just put this in perspective for you folks. I'm not accusing anybody that spoke to the embassy of doing such a thing. But if you went to the embassy for one of these preliminary interviews and you embellished or misled or falsely stated things, and the embassy checked on it, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping anybody. You've hurt yourself and you've hurt everyone that's interested in the program. 2 days headache. My goodness. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Earl. Harold Wolf says, it's good advice. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. So what I'm hearing is I can't tell the U.S. about my 24 non-existent children. No, you can't. And Gama says, I'm one of those children. Stop telling people that in Gama. They'll believe it. They'll believe it. Colleen doesn't wear a ring and obviously married based on that statement. Whoops, my nose is growing, says Shard. Who's the Chief John Dunn of 2025? How cows did you have to buy? How many cows? Well, I'm telling you, man, that's why I'm not rich. That's why I need super chats. Where are the super chats? It's the Ebola, man. It killed me. It bankrupted me. Say hi to the missus. Okay. Well, that's a presumption. The missus could be a mister. It is 2025, after all. Go and do some research on Leo Brent. You mean Brent Bozell? Well, Super D, why don't you watch my video? You want to do research on him? Why don't you just watch my video? Good Lord, why do I bother? Seriously. You're going to do research on him. Well, the easy research, you can do your own research, but I've already done it for you. I know who he is. Dude, I love that. I'm going to go do research on this guy. Just watch my video, man. It's right there. You don't need to go anywhere. Try working in a bank where people's applications for credit 99% lie. Oh, there you go. That's a perfect example. People lie all the time to get money. Yep. Awesome content. Thank you, Colonel Wyatt. I am but one of many, but good evening to you. May God bless you. Well, thank you, Gio. Going to do some research, says Super D. Well, Super D, there's some research for you. You can watch the video, man. All races have suffered. True. It's about people in power keeping people enslaved. Yep. 16 wives. Who can handle... Well, more than one per day is too much. You're right. Mandile pile. That's why you can't really go past about 15 wives, because you got to spend at least 2 days a month with each one of them. You make me laugh, Elizabeth says. So I'm glad I do. Imagine having rings. Imagine wearing 16 rings for 16. Why would I put them? Where would I put all those rings? Some occupations also prohibit wearing jewelry. It's not a good idea to wear jewelry in combat and you get captured. Not a good idea. Yeah, there you go, Peter O'Connor. Imagine having 16 rings. Since Inception's channel, what was your most elaborate conspiracy theory topic, South Africa? I don't do conspiracy theories, Eugene. I don't do them, so I don't know what you mean. Marie says, you tell people not to lie, then you're lying from South Africa. What? What are you trying to say? Are you having, because you're English your second language? What are you saying, Marie? You're telling people not to lie, then you're lying from South Africa. Lying from South Africa. I'm not in South Africa. How could I be lying from South Africa? If I were lying, I'd be lying from Pennsylvania. But I'm not lying. I don't understand your point. Marie, please explain your premise there. Nice to hear that having U.S. visa does help a little. I'm happy to be vetted. You know, I mean, because it's going to say that you've previously checked. It's going to make it easier for them to check, but they're still going to do a deep background on you. You mentioned a few places yesterday when someone asked about a quiet place to live. You could please refresh my memory. Oh, seriously, Charles? A lot of people don't appreciate the brutal honesty, Robert. They don't. The flower is growing. Just realized if you were married, you would have had a pan against the head by now for random rants. Darkwater. I've been to the U.S. twice for work in the past, and it's the same as when I went to Ireland, Kuwait. Every embassy warns on false documents. Exactly. Yep. Just Googled. Giselle said you have 22 wives. 2 of them are Swana. Well, I'm sorry to hear you can't hit the like button. That's crazy. Works too hard to give us news and support, and I don't think he has time for wife says creativeness. He's waiting for a board mice. Why are you guys all fixate on this thing? Good Lord, let go. Ronell, thank you. Have you guys not learned anything about Chris? He's an intelligence officer. No way he will divulge personal information in an open or closed session. Plausible deniability, folks. Plausible deniability. Yeah, Mickey, I know you warned them. I have some pumpkin with cinnamon for you. Thank you, Gerard. Crystal, where'd it go? Come back here. There's a super chat from Bram, 14 Rand. That's not your first. Is it your first one? He didn't tell me it was your first one. The tripartite theory of dishonesty. Everyone lies. People tend to lie when expected benefits outweigh the potential negative consequences. Bing. If you're over 40, you can join the military. No, Jared, you cannot. It's too late. Sorry. Favorite comedy of all time? What, sitcom? Big Bang Theory. Raj, Wallowitz, Penny, Leonard, and Sheldon. Best sitcom of all time. Favorite comedian? Oof, I don't know. Bill Engvall, probably. I liked Richard Pryor back in the day. Do we need to apply for a passport? Don't think it's going to be necessary as refugees. Sorry, this was already asked. Bernice has been asked many, many times. However, we don't know the answer on that. This is an unusual program. You have to understand you're not actually a refugee. You're being granted refugee status in a stable country, relatively speaking. So you haven't fled to a third country. So thank you, Johan Henry Breitenbach, for your subscription. So it's hard to answer the question. Refugees who show up from war-torn countries have nothing but the clothing on their back oftentimes and are given travel documents by the country that accepts them. There's another super chat from Jan van Driel. I just sent you a link in Washington. Breaking news now. EFF wants Orania to be removed. Oh, and WhatsApp. I saw this Washington. WhatsApp. Thank you for that, Jan. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Good Lord, man. Lots of stuff coming over here in my chat. All right, Jan, I'm looking for something from you, and I don't see it. When did you send it to me? Sorry, I got a lot of stuff coming in here. What's going on? Okay, Super Chats, Con de Bruyne, 35. You should be ambassador. Your broken English is so much better than ours. According below. Thank you for that. Rohan, 40 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that. Did I miss another one? Culinary Pirates, 35 Rand. Sorry. And Colette Ostoysen, thank you for your patience. Thank you. Sorry, I missed all those chats. Yeah, your children. Well, they'll do checks that are available. I mean, they're children of criminals, but those would be much easier to do. Stating fact, and people must listen. Exactly. Same as me. I'm left-handed, married, not wearing a ring because the ring once made contact with PowerPoint and my finger was burnt. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember when I was enlisted, this really dark black soldier, what's his name, Cullington or something like that, was Covington, was a mechanic, a generator repairman in our motor pool, and he wore his wristwatch. It was a metal wristwatch, and he touched something with like a screwdriver, and it arced, and it burnt. So when he took the watch off, he had pink skin here and saw a scar there. It was there the whole time I knew him, Covington, after that. He hooked up the white girl and had a baby soldier, one of the hottest white soldiers we had in the unit. Yeah, anyway, we were signaling in. So he had that horrible scar from his watch because he didn't take his watch off. No, when you work around electronics, you can't wear rings. I build and work on computers. So does that answer your question, whether I would wear a ring or not? Same as me, I'm left-handed. Okay, thank you. I had time for making it obvious. Bernice will need to change from refugee to resident. Okay, some women who aren't married wear rings so people leave them alone. But did you see the clip of the young woman trying to grab a MAGA hat off you? I did, and she fell. Savage Darter, thank you for the £2. Appreciate that. Still saving up for Bordermeister, okay? My daughter and said our airport's dirty. I have to agree, but she has a big smile. It's good when it comes to food and people. What? I have no idea what the heck's going on there. Just saw a tweet from the Southern government underlining that expropriation includes land, buildings, and other assets. So those still believes the land. Well, Gerard, who's been telling you from the very beginning, it's not about the land. That's a red herring. Yes, they'll take land. It's about expropriating property. And it's not about expropriating property. It's about punishing political opponents. It's about going after the people who deign to speak out against the government. That's the bottom line. A lot of women do not wear rings anymore for fear of being robbed in broad daylight. Yep. Mandile Pill, thanks for doing your channel. Calling a spade, keep on doing it, buddy. We're living in a cruel and evil world. Indeed we are, Mandile. Jan Fundriel says, in the last... Okay. Jan, there's one from Robert, 70. Thank you, Robert, 70 Rand. I appreciate that. Okay, Jan, I have to find the last one you sent. Okay. Just hang on a second. There's Jan, okay. Northern Cape EFF seek to challenge Irania. Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, it's a YouTube video. Okay. Oh, SABC. All right, let's see what they say. It's 259. Okay. Let me download that so I've got it. Okay. Okay. All righty. So, thanks for keeping your okay, sorry. First off, the colonel's not married because he would have a photo of a miss, not his cats. Secondly, if a miss, you weren't in the Navy. 16 wives don't speak the same language. Well, that's why I speak some. Have anyone ever asked themselves why Chris speaks 6 languages and is familiar with 3 others? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Good God. Thank you for what you're doing, says Metamorph. Mariska. People lying in their application reminds me of the last scene of Proposal every time I laugh, okay? Virtual Western Cape jewelry when working on a lathe, asking to have your finger ripped off. Yep, I've seen that too. I've seen people working on a lathe and get their finger caught. Yep, sent to Super now. No job, 3 months. Freaking BEE. So stupid, never struggle here. Culinary Pirates, don't send money, man. If you're struggling, don't do that. I do appreciate it, but you don't need to put yourself in a bind. Yeah, no wonder I'm broke, Hendo. I think it's not a conspiracy theory. I think Germ is drinking more than everybody else. Why is marriage a top? I don't know, Nicolette. Where did that come from? I didn't bring it up, and people keep going on in the chat. I think because you're innocent. Oh, I am very innocent. I'm innocent as the pure driven snow. Chris, you can get tattoos. Nope, no, I don't do tattoos. I think they're vile. Why would I touch perfection? God created this body. Why would I harm this temple? Yeah, Aaron, I don't get some of the comments sometimes. Do aliens exist? Of course they exist. We've seen them. Joe Biden. Pale Dragon likes my sense of humor. I'm a man from St. Ives with 7 wives. Each wife has 7 lives. I've heard that before. All right. Right now, I think the Air Force Museum has a greater number of aircraft worth. Yeah, it does. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm trying to be a good sport here. Fans for it's better than the trolls coming in. Now Marie is laughing about something. Martha Williams Bernard. I got a tattoo. Regret it now. Yeah, Arnold. I've never gotten a tattoo. Never gotten one. Never smoked weed. Never done illicit substance. Don't drink and drive. Ever, ever, ever. Nope. Nope, nope. Doesn't make me special. Just makes me responsible. Well, the thousands of illegal aliens we're deporting, that's true. In the USA, if you smoke anywhere outside a smoking area, you get jumped by 4 big guys with tasers. That's not true. That's not true. Oh, Nicolette, it doesn't have a tattoo. That's appealing. I'm not a masochist. I don't believe in self-torture. Life is hard enough to... Springbok tattoo on my chest. Now, in old age, it's a giraffe. Because it's slumped. Tattoos sag when you get old and wrinkly. Exactly, Quids. That's why I said all those barbed wire tattoos that all these people got in the 90s back here, like Pamela Anderson. They go from here down to here by the 2000s. Yep. Yeah, I heard MTN. Somebody said that earlier in the previous stream. MTN is ending their sponsorship of the Springboks. I didn't see that story report anywhere, though. If you were to only, if there were only African countries to live in, what one would you choose and why? Oh, you only give me one choice? Well, I mean, given the choices, it'd have to be South Africa. But why? Because it's got everything. Yeah, that's why. So, yep, that would be why. Yeah, Wednesdays with the Colonel, Bill. It's coming up at the top of the hour in just a few minutes. Good evening, Elsa. Botswana, says PK. Well, that's fine with me. I don't really care for the MTM logo. I detest it almost as much on my jersey, my Springbok jersey, as I detested the Mr. Price on the Sharks jersey. I refused to buy a Sharks jersey when Mr. Price sponsored them. I never bought one. It looked hideous. Absolutely hideous. Hideous. 2 sleeve tattoos rather spent. Okay. Yeah, beautiful manners. Every time you cough, you turn. I try to, Joy. I missed it during. I think I coughed or cleared my throat one time during with the stream with Ernst. Tat and 1 tattoo and 6 others. Tesla. Well, that'd be great. Or Starlink to sponsor the Springboks. That would be so funny. That would be so funny. I think that's what Musk should do. He should say, "Hey, Starlink will sponsor the Springboks." That would be so funny. Oh, we should do that. Let's start a campaign. Starlink to sponsor the Springboks. Man, that would be so awesome. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get Starlink to sponsor the Springboks. Come on, man. 560 likes. That means at least 43 of you are just freeloading right now. 43 freeloaders. Come on. Come on.
That was easy.
Absolutely cannot agree more about tattoos. It's like smoking. If my lungs should have been tarred, God would have provided. I'm late, very, very late. I was catching up on the previous stream and never got a notification. Well, we go live every day. This was a little bit early there, Proud New. I thought we go live every day with the news, 7 days a week, unless something else is going on. Starlink to sponsor the Springbox. Yep. I don't think Afriform is sponsored. They don't have the money for that. Colonel, where do we register for the refugee program? Thank you for a great channel. Buddy, there is no refugee program to register for. You can, however, express your interest in the United States Embassy in Pretoria, and I'd recommend you do that. So the way you do that is you write to them, and I'll get to that in just a second here. All right, you cannot apply at the moment as the program is being developed, but you can express interest in the embassy at the following. So send them an email, tell them a little bit about yourself, and tell them you're interested in it. If you've got any examples of oppression, feel free to share that in your email. But they'll give you an automatic reply that they got it, and then they may get back in touch with you at some point. Then patiently wait for the program to be announced. And the moment it's announced, get on that internet and hit that button and get yourself an application in and do it if you want to. Hender just put up as well. Okay? All right. Did I answer your question? All right, thanks for the super chats. The one new member, the 616 likes, and there's 617 people here. Cool. I'm going to wrap it up here. Somebody already posted the Springbox shirt. Oh, there you go. I want Starlink, not Tesla. Starlink and Springbox sounds better. Top states for resettlement as per UNHCR: Texas, New York, California. Well, that's from the sheet that I've provided, Ronell. That's right from the U.S. government's, the president's report. Yeah, we don't want Cadbury to be the sponsor. Yep. I mailed them, but did not send details except I want to apply. Arno, it's up to you. I mean, I don't know. If you sent it, they've got it. So it's your question. I mean, there's no guidance on what you should put in the email. It just makes sense. Francois Swart, thank you for your membership. Okay. Can't support. Yeah, but the Amerikaners are just taking a stab in the wind too. They don't know what goes in there either, but they're welcome to listen to them if you like. What's oops? Only BE companies can sponsor them. All right, that's it, guys. Posted the wrong link. What wrong link? I posted the wrong link? What are you talking about? No, that's the correct link. All right, guys, gotta go. See you on Ronaldo here in 5 minutes, okay? Cheers. Take care. Thanks, man. You'll be redirected automatically to Ronaldo's Wednesdays with the Colonel. All right? Cheers.